Today, the CBI has filed its first charge sheet in the Ishrat Jahan case. Effectively, it has indicted both the central IB and the Gujarat police. However, it is surprising that they have remained completely silent about those who have accompanied Ishrat Jahan. It's already in the public domain and all of us know that they were people with terrorist links. They were continuously, more than 20 odd calls have been made through satellite phone to the LET bosses. And they may also have been foreign nationals from among them. But the CBI's silence after a protracted investigation into this matter on the background and the nature of activities in which these people were involved raises more questions than answers. After this protracted investigation, if CBI could not even describe who these people were, who were accompanying Ishrat Jahan, who, with their satellite phones, have been in touch with the terrorist masterminds, it clearly gives a picture that the CBI's charge sheet underplays the role of LET and certainly indicts the Indian security apparatus. This charge sheet comes after two other earlier affidavits which were changed. 2007, you had an affidavit which said that information was shared which related to terrorist operatives. 2009, with a change of Home Minister, you had a line coming from the central government that information was shared, but they can't be responsible for any encounters. Clearly, the government has been probably advising the CBI, and the CBI is completely confused which way to go. One affidavit one day with one line and a different affidavit on a different day with a completely different line. Let us not forget, and I think it's more important to remember, that this encounter happened on 15th June 2004, by which time the union government was under the Congress party-led UPA. And the security or the IB from then is effectively reporting to the central government. Every time an IB input is given to any state government, it is given as an institutional process to somebody at the level of the DGP or Director General. And these are not personal inputs. And such is the nature of functioning of the IB that at least once in a week, any briefing or any input given to states or information shared to states are briefed to the Prime Minister himself. And if this is the way the institutional process of IB works, all the information which has been shared with the Gujarat police are not done at the personal level but at an institutional level, and that would have been simultaneously briefed even to the Prime Minister. Was it briefed at all? Were these inputs which have been given to the Gujarat police as regards this particular encounter shared with the Prime Minister at all? And if at all, because Central IB has been involved. And even for a minute, if we take the CBI's input as final, and based on which they've given abduction-related charges, central police officers were involved in the so-called abduction too. So, if this information was the input that was given to the Gujarat police was indeed given to the Gujarat police, Was it also shared with the central government under whom the IB works? And if it was indeed shared, what then? Can we hear from the union government, the Congress-led UPA government? Because this entire episode, in which now the CBI clearly has indicted both the central IB and the Gujarat police, we would like to know what the central government's view in this matter is. Because after all, every time IB shares an input with the state police, they report to their bosses in the union government. So the changed affidavits, which once said, yes, there is a terrorist-related possibility of an attack, which was in 2007. Later in 2009, they changed it saying they have no role to play. It was an information shared, but let us understand, each time that the information shared by the IB has been genuine is what has been underlined by the IB till today. That the information shared was genuine from the IB side has been reiterated every time, even though the lines have been changing every now and then. So with this, the BJP thinks that this charge sheet which has been filed, and with an opening given saying there could be subsequent charge sheets, supplementary charge sheet too, very clearly underplays the role of LET, underplays the role of terrorists, and certainly indicts the Indian security apparatus and demoralizes them in the process. मैं इस विषय में हिंदी में सिर्फ एक ही लाइन बोलना चाहती हूँ, वो ये है कि आतंकी हमलाओं में, आतंकी एनकाउंटर्स में कांग्रेस पार्टी सियासत करना बंद करें, क्योंकि ये देश की सुरक्षा की मामला है और ये मुद्दा जो इशरत जहां की मामला है, एनकाउंटर है, ये शुरू हुआ मतलब एनकाउंटर भी उनके सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में आने के बाद ही हुआ। इसीलिए हर बार जो भी इनपुट केंद्र आईबी से आती है और उसका शेयरिंग होती है गुजरात की पुलिस के साथ, उन सब में सेंट्रल आईबी का रोल बिल्कुल कांग्रेस के शासन में हुआ है। इसीलिए इसका इम्पोर्टेंस समझें। और आज सीबीआई अगर उनके चार्जशीट में सेंट्रल आईबी और गुजरात पुलिस दोनों को इंडाइट करते हुए चार्जशीट फाइल कर रही है, फिर सेंट्रल आईबी के बॉस जो रहते हैं वो केंद्र सरकार है, जो शुरुआत से मतलब एनकाउंटर जब हुआ तब से ही कांग्रेस की सरकार है। इसको हम मन में रखते हुए इस चर्चा को समझें और आगे इस चर्चा के आगे बढ़ाना है तो इसको मन में रखते हुए करें। थैंक यू। The BJP couple of weeks ago very clearly said food security bill is an important bill. It has very, very important implications on the society, on the budget, and on the way the Indian poor would be given food security, and therefore it has to be discussed. We had very clearly suggested that the monsoon session of the parliament be advanced and no special session be required, but the Congress was at that time of the view that they would want a special session. But in spite of all this, notwithstanding the fact that the BJP had agreed that it should be discussed in the parliament, if today the Congress party and the government therefore has decided to go in the route of the ordinance, it only is very clear that they're running away from debate. They're not interested in having a debate because many facts or many gaps in this bill will be highlighted by all political parties in the parliament, and their own lack of clarity, their own lack of preparedness in presenting a comprehensively well-drafted bill will come out. As a result, today we find that the Congress party trying to get a brownie point which may help them to face the Indian public, Indian voter, has decided to go through the ordinance because they only have scandals and scams, corruption running to lakhs and lakhs of crores, with which they cannot face the Indian voter. Inflation has remained uncontrolled. The Aam Aadmi is suffering, and because they cannot go and ask for votes, this food security bill, which was otherwise supposed to have come within 100 days of their coming to power, in a rush is coming in the last 100 days before going to election. And as a result, I think it is just an election gimmick rather than a sincere desire to help the poor with food security. Thank you. What do you say for ordinance? अत्यादेश. फूड सिक्योरिटी के ऊपर 2 सप्ताह पहले तक जो चर्चा हुआ था, उसमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सुझाव ये थे कि मानसून सत्र पार्लियामेंट का आगे ही करवाएं, जिससे इस फूड सिक्योरिटी बिल को पार्लियामेंट में, संसद में डिस्कस कर पाएंगे, और हम करने को तैयार हैं, क्योंकि ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण एक बिल है जिसका असर सोसाइटी में बहुत सारे लोग के ऊपर पड़ेगी, और वैसे बजट के ऊपर भी इसका असर बहुत पड़ेगा. इसीलिए बीजेपी की तरफ से हम चर्चा करने के लिए सिद्ध है, ऐसे घोषणा भी हुई, और पार्लियामेंट सेशन को जल्दी ही करवाने के लिए हम मांग कर रहे थे. मगर आज हमारी तरफ से ये उम्मीद जताने के बाद भी अगर सरकार ऑर्डिनेंस के रास्ते में चलना चाह रही है, इससे हम समझ सकते हैं कि वो चर्चा करने से डर के मारे भाग रहे हैं. उनको चर्चा करने में मन नहीं है, क्योंकि इस बिल में जो कमियां हैं वो सब चर्चा के दौरान जनता के सामने आ जाएगा. इस बिल में बहुत सारे कमियां हैं, और उसके ऊपर चर्चा करने में कांग्रेस की जो 100 दिन से पहले ही करवाने वाले जो फूड सिक्योरिटी बिल था, वो आज आकर के और 100 दिन बचा है चुनाव के लिए. ऐसे माहौल में अगर जल्दबाजी से कांग्रेस ले आना चाह रही है, इसका मतलब ये है कि इससे वोट कमाने के लिए जितना भी फायदा मिलेगा उसके लिए ही ये बिल आ रही है. सचमुच दुख और गरीबी में जो रह रहे हैं उनके कष्ट मिटाने के लिए नहीं ले आ रहे हैं. इसीलिए इस बिल को ऑर्डिनेंस के रूट में से ले आने में से कांग्रेस के इंटेंशन, उनके आइडिया इस बिहाइंड इलेक्शन ही है, गरीब नहीं है, ये स्पष्ट होता है.